I'm Hannah Tarif, and I'm presenting Busboys and Poets. I'll begin by reading the tribal statement, which is so centered to Busboys' mission. Busboys and Poets is a community where racial and cultural connections are consciously uplifted, a place to take deliberate pause and feed your mind, body, and soul, a space for art, culture, and politics to intentionally collide. We believe that by creating such a space, we can inspire social change and begin to transform our community and the world. I chose Busboys because one, I love the sweet potato fries, but more importantly, I thought it was a great place for the community to get together and learn about some really great poetry or some art or some literature and enjoy Southern cooking that's clean and healthy and organic. And I thought this was a really great place to talk about. I did. I went and learned to be able to reflect and enjoy the space myself, and also to have some more freedom in asking the employees what I wanted to ask. So absolutely, I have no suggestions for them that I can personally think of. I think when you watch the rest of the presentation, you'll really see how they connect food, literature, art, and bring that all together and bring a space for the community to really talk about some important topics that they're passionate about. So the following video footage is from the bookstore located in Hyattsville. What's really cool about the literature at Busboys and Poets, I've already kind of mentioned it, is that it's really rooted in the civil rights movement and the black struggle movement and social struggles for both women and LGBTQ liberation, and more recently the dispossessed and marginalized in this country. And that's one of the main goals of Busboys and Poets to create this space, this dialogue for the community. And what I found was that they actually use a lot of local authors to do this as well. So the art is also really interesting at Busboys, in that it is locally sourced. So a lot of the people that live in the community are actually able to post their artwork. And one piece I really enjoyed that I wish I had gotten a picture of was actually painted by one of the barbacks there. And in big letters across an American flag with his face drawn multiple times across it, it said, "¿Qué significa ilegal?" Which means, what does it mean, illegal? And I just thought it was so amazing that the people who even work there were really given this voice in the community, and be able to sort of spark some dialogue within the community as well. Something I really enjoyed about Busboys was that they're really focused on making sure that everyone feels welcome, and that includes providing assistance for those who may speak sign language, for those who may need a wheelchair, and really whatever capacity they're able to assist you, they try to make that effort. So the employee that was working in the bookstore was a senior at Maryland, actually, pre-law, and she talked to me a lot about the literature there, but most importantly, she told me about her interview process at Busboys, and what I thought was so impactful and powerful about how she was trained was that in the beginning, she actually has a roundtable discussion with the owner, along with some different employees, about race and their race story, and why that's significant. And I just thought that was a really interesting and unique thing that I had really never heard of when you're training employees. And it was really inspiring to hear that the owner takes time out of his day to meet every single employee and learn about them. So really briefly, one of the connections to the readings that I found Busboys and Poets had was the congruence section of the 7 C's of the social change model of leadership development. I felt that the owner was very good at creating this dialogue around race. He does this, as I mentioned earlier, by interviewing or talking, having a roundtable discussion with all of his employees before hiring them, and really talking about their own personal story. And it shows how committed he is to that aspect of his industry. Another way his talk about race with his employees is demonstrated as a connection with the readings is in the possible pitfalls for social change article, in which it talks about ignoring differences. between people, and even though you have sort of these similarities, being very careful to understand that everyone is not the same, and to address these things and to sort of try and work through them versus ignoring them. And I think that's something that Busboys also does really well. So lastly, the racial identity development article, specifically the section on community socialization, really spoke to a conversation I had with one of the employees about the importance of the children's section in the bookstore. And when she was talking to me about the children's section, she was mentioning how important it was for children to be able to learn about their own identity through the lens of race and ethnicity, but to do so with Black authors, people who look like them, teaching them about their own identity versus any other way, really. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I hope you learned a lot.